Alright, so a ton of new info to go over in this video, so let's do this. First of all, we've got some brand new insights from the dev team on exactly how scaling and downscaling is working in the game. We're going to be taking a look at that post in just a moment. Let's just say, in my opinion, this information is a game changer, and it looks like they could be improving how this system works down the road. Now, also, was a recent post from critics really censored and removed from the largest Outriders community online? The answer is now a confirmed no, as Square Enix clears the air about this one. In fact, that post that critiqued the game is back up right here, as you can see. It is not censored or anything like that, so that is absolutely excellent news. We'll dive into exactly what happened with this one in just a moment, plus a bunch of other news about Outriders and your top comments. So let's begin. Hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here, hope you're doing good, and let's dive in. First of all, we're going to be talking about downscaling leveling, because a lot of players are complaining that their weapons feel underpowered, especially if they join a co-op game with someone that is a lower level. We're going to be talking about exactly how the system is working right now, but let's get some context here first. Gorilla Steve says this: as a once dedicated Anthem player, I can tell you that the scaling issues are making me really nervous right now. He furthermore says the following: it's being talked about in several posts, but I think that many players are oblivious to it right now because the game is still relatively new and they haven't reached the in-game or late in-game content yet. But the downscaling in this game is poorly designed and creates unnecessary frustration that I worry will turn many people away from the game. We saw this in Anthem when someone pointed out the best gun in the game was level 1 you started with, not the max level God Rolled Legendary you farmed for hours to get. You can imagine why that's a problem in a game that relies on investing your precious time into grinding endlessly for loot and carefully min-maxing your character. It was also for many yet another kick in the teeth by developers in the wake of failed launch filled with server issues, bugs, nerfs. Sound familiar? Now, they say this: what worries me is that People Can Fly is working very hard to rectify the big issues of a troubled launch, and I commend them for that. They have a good game on their hands if they can get it working, but if the scaling doesn't get addressed, I fear it will catch them off guard when the bulk of the player base realizes that the character they worked so hard to become OP can't complete a challenge tier 10 expedition with their perfectly rolled gear, and nobody seems to understand the math behind this, which is also scary because that means someone most likely will figure out an exploit that makes a joke out of the game. I know I may be overacting or projecting my Anthem woes onto this game, but I really do want this game and the developers to succeed with Outriders. It's a ton of fun, and I'd love to spend lots of hours playing in the future, and I think a lot of us feel this way, especially. That's why we give our feedback, and that's why People Can Fly, they listen, and they respond. So we're going to take a look at exactly what they have to say right now, shall we? So first of all, let's see what People Can Fly Powell, a developer on the game, has to say. He says, first of all, thank you for understanding. For the last couple of days, I was helping as much as possible with technical issues and didn't have much time to deep dive into Reddit threads. I still won't be able to do it as much as I'd love to, but you are in the good hands of Verican, who is meticulously noting all of your concerns. At this time, we're dealing with the game-breaking issues first, but this one is quite high on my list as well. We're open for discussion on the over-leveling and how it should be adjusted. Possibly the biggest flaw of the system is that it's a black box that isn't explained at all. So in order to have informed discussion, here are the rules it uses. This is fascinating. It says the system uses differences between average item level and enemy level as a base. You can check average item level on Details tab in Inventory, as well as bonuses it provided. It will only work if your average item level is more than 2 levels higher than enemy level. When system works, it scales player damage and enemy damage as if player average item level was equal to enemy level plus 2, so player can have 2 level advantage. So that is, I think that right there is one of the most important things to note. It says on tier 1, this system is turned off regardless of level difference. Now they've confirmed this. We are aware of one bug where the firepower bonus is not applied properly when you equip much lower level weapon, leading to weird results. If you suspect that there are other classes where system is not working as described above, please let us know in the comments below. trying to provide as much as details as possible, especially enemy and your average item level. All other feedback is welcome. So as you can see, the system is definitely interesting how it works. A lot of you guys want the system completely removed from the game, and there are reasons why they haven't done that, because you would become completely godlike. But then again, that's what a lot of people really want as well. So let me know your take on this in the comments below. Now we have this question right here, a follow-up question from a Seingfield, who says, does this affect both world tier and challenge tiers? I've only seen people complain about challenge tier so far. People Can Fly responded, it's present in both world tiers and challenge tiers. It may be the case that you are more likely to go down in challenge tiers with higher gear level. Now we have a follow-up reply here. It says, I noticed when I'm in challenge map with an equally matched player on the current highest content, we will be doing fine and killing enemies at a reasonable rate. At a stronger or weaker, not sure which one, third player will join, and it seems to handicap the first two players to the point that they can't seem to do any damage. Let me know if this is you guys or not. Now, let's get into more official replies as well. XBoom King says this. So if I'm understanding correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, on World Tier 15, all my gear will be downscaled to 44. If this is the case, it feels inherently messed up if people are having trouble getting to the final challenge tiers. It's already punishment enough to have to farm under level gear. But to make me less effective at doing it, why take away what I have earned? And People Can Fly responded in this way. They say this: on World Tier 15, enemy level is 42. So if you come with gear level 50, yes, the damage is scaled to level 44, which should be quite the advantage without making the game silly and broken. Now, without over leveling it, it was basically impossible to die in those circumstances, and gameplay basically didn't exist. Additionally, downscaling doesn't affect benefits from attributes or synergies. So you could see the worry with developing this game, it seems, was of course to make players feel like they are getting more powerful as they go, but keep the challenge existing throughout. It doesn't seem like they want people to be completely 100% godlike. So that seems to be the assessment that I am seeing right there. Let me know again what you make of the challenge tiers. Please sound off. Voice your opinions in the comments below. And it seems again that they are willing to adjust this down the future, but they are also looking to the very big game-breaking bugs and problems that the game has, which it seems like they've worked very hard on limiting this inventory wipe issue. I haven't heard tons and tons of complaints or threads about that one, so that's good news there. Now let's go ahead and talk about that supposedly censored thread, which of course, this is the topic right here. It says, are we censoring critics now? It says, long story short, saw a video here that I wanted to show a friend, came back and can't find it anymore, did some digging via history and found that it was removed. And of course, it's Angry Joe Show's review of the game. And he says this: I love the game and I have over 90 hours into it. I admit that it had issues, so on and so forth. They say this: you can't censor criticism just because it gained way more visibility than you expected. That is not cool, man. Here is the official reply from Square Enix about this issue. They say, no one is being censored. I generally refrain from moderation on this subreddit, as I explained already in February. I even posted on Friday that I avoid removing any comments even when they are entirely unhelpful to the topic at hand. Nevertheless, I did take a look at the mod log for that particular thread. You can see right here. It says, having chatted to the mod team about what might have gone on there, we believe the auto moderator kicked in to remove the thread in question when it passed a threshold in report from users, as it was likely considered spam by the auto mod. Now, the mod subsequently reapproved the thread, earlier this morning on Monday without my prompting. Why did it take a while to get reviewed? Probably because the auto mod kicked in over the weekend. Absolutely. It says, some partial quotes from myself to those of you who don't click the links I shared above. And these quotes are important because it talks about how Square Enix handles, connecting and interacting with communities around the interwebs, including Reddit. So let's take a look. Says, on a community-driven platform like Reddit, I feel that brands, community managers, developers are guests rather than owners or managers. I feel that having a community that is player-driven will allow everyone to be much more comfortable and open to discuss anything they want rather than feeling like negative opinions they have might be stifled by official powers. Open and honest discussion, while sometimes painful, is the only way we can learn and improve, not just on the game dev side, but also as a community. For full transparency, I do have access to back-end powers on this Reddit, but I use them only in rare circumstances, such as to speedily remove obvious NDA breaks or flare a topic that we might have provided an answer in. My powers are also there to safeguard against a subreddit going completely rogue, as has happened in the past in the industry when individual moderators made decisions that affected the entire community negatively. I completely get that. Generally speaking, though, I prefer to take a hands-off approach and let the community moderators manage discussions here, while myself and People Can Fly staff take part in discussions as regular community members on a level with everyone else. So that's really noteworthy there, that, you know, when it comes to NDA stuff, I do get that they would have to remove stuff that would be considered leaks, because if you're a team and you're preparing something and you're super excited to reveal it and having it leaked beforehand, that is just such a pain in the butt, because it stills that joy and that moment from the team for sure, and any marketing plans that they had. Now, furthermore, they say this, on Reddit, I'm more hesitant to do this, remove posts, as people will think we're trying to hide any new cases, which of course is precisely the opposite of our intention. Such moderation on an unofficial sub generally brings out the censorship crowd, regardless of the logic behind it. So there is the answer, and once again, you can see that the post in question that stirred up this whole discussion is live. It has not been removed. It has not been censored. It looks like the auto mod kicked in. So a lot of people were concerned, saying, oh my god, it looks like they're censoring stuff and that sort of thing. That's not the case, and kudos to Square Enix for once again being so transparent and open on how they actually communicate with the community. That is awesome. I love this level of communication with the community. All right, now it's time to go over your top comments. You better believe it. So let's do this, shall we? So let's dive in right now. My previous video was called I Was Not Expecting This News Today. This is big for the franchise. Brand new update. So this is basically saying that Outriders is doing amazing worldwide between all the consoles and platforms, PC, what have you. It is in third place in sales numbers, despite the issues that it faced during launch. And a lot of those issues are being nailed down. But let's see what you guys had to say about that as well. Or the Hunter says this, I will like to see an Electro-type class. We see a lot of Electro-type enemies and even have an Electro-type altar boss. That would be badass. Ghosting says this, I'd like to see a water-based class. You can bring up Tsunami from underground and become invincible for a short period by becoming water itself, so bullets just pass through you. A lot of stuff you could do with that. I love that idea. Dude, that would be so cool to see. Slithering says this, I don't want new classes, I want a stable game. I want a game that fixes the damage system, where the bad guys don't tag you twice with the same hit, or mob armor that doesn't magically double. Also, buffed basic weapon damage to help Devastators do some damage. So he wants to see some improvements with the Devastators, as well as many of you. Chris says, I would like a Mind Freak class, break the NPCs to attack each other, make them run in fear for a few seconds, etc. Maybe also make fake copies of yourself to mess up the NPCs so they won't fire at you. There is so much potential with the different classes and things they could add to this game for sure. Now, a Beastmaster class could be cool, and introducing air or gravity manipulation would be awesome. I also like the idea of subclasses too. Yeah, subclasses is the thing that I personally think would be pretty cool to see. As like, even if this is kind of considered, I still don't consider that minor expansions, like medium-sized expansions between the big expansions that they potentially could be planning right now. I think that would be very, very cool to see something that they could do to expand current classes in that way. All right, let's see what Now Smile had to say. Now Smile says this, I hope we get more info about the fungus and stuff. We really didn't get into that, and it was such a major thing during the prologue and was talked about a crap ton by the forest people, Zahadi and Shira. So yeah, maybe that could be like a new enemy variation or something like that. That's something that I think they could really play around with the DLC and expansions. Again, tons of options, expanding this game in many different ways with the lore, the enemies, world, so much stuff they can do with it. That's why I want this franchise to stay strong and healthy for as long as it is around. But there you guys have it, the latest news and happenings about Outriders. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more Outriders news and updates, and I will see you all next time. Take care.